A business owner receives a message from a buyer overseas, and the buyer says something that sounds powerful. He says, "Our bank has sent an MT199. The business owner pauses because he understands MT103 a little now. But MT199 sounds different. It sounds more private. It sounds more serious. It sounds like something banks send only when a transaction is close to becoming real. The buyer says, "This is bank-to-bank confirmation?" The buyer says, "This proves we are ready." The buyer says, "Please prepare the goods." And suddenly, the business owner feels pressure again. Not because he sees money, but because he sees banking language. This is how many people get confused in global payments. They don't lose clarity because they are careless. They lose clarity because the banking system uses codes that sound stronger than they really are. My name is Sethtra, and today we're opening another case file. Not about money moving, not about settlement, not about funds arriving. Today we're talking about communication. Because MT199 is one of the most misunderstood SWIFT message types in global banking. And if you understand MT199 correctly, you will stop treating bank messages like money. You will start treating them like what they really are: structured communication. Now let's begin with the cleanest definition. MT199 is a free-format SWIFT message. That means banks use it when they need to send information that does not fit neatly into another specific message type. The ISO 15022 User Handbook describes MT199 free-format messages as messages used by financial institutions to send or receive information when another message type is not applicable. ISO 20022. So MT199 is not a payment. It is not a transfer. It is not settlement. It is not proof that funds arrived. It is a message. And more specifically, it is a flexible message used for communication. This is why MT199 is powerful and dangerous at the same time. Powerful because banks can use it to communicate special information. Dangerous because normal people often misunderstand what that information means. Now let's compare it with MT103. MT103 is designed for customer credit transfers. It has a payment purpose. It is structured around moving a customer payment instruction. MT199 is different. MT199 is free format. It is more like a bank-to-bank note. It can ask a question. It can provide clarification. It can confirm something. It can respond to a situation. It can support a payment investigation. It can communicate information when no more specific SWIFT message type fits. But because it is flexible, people often exaggerate its meaning. This is the first major trap. Flexibility does not equal guarantee. A message can be official and still not be final. A message can be authenticated and still not mean money has arrived. A message can come through SWIFT and still only be communication. Now let's return to our case file. The buyer tells the seller, "Our bank sent MT199. The seller thinks, if banks are communicating, the deal must be real. But that is not always true. Banks communicate about many things. They communicate about status. They communicate about errors. They communicate about missing details. They communicate about confirmations. They communicate about investigations. They communicate about why something cannot be processed. So the existence of communication does not prove the outcome. This is the central lesson of MT199. It can tell you something, but it does not automatically give you what you want. Now, why do banks use MT199? Because not every situation fits into a clean banking box. Sometimes a bank needs to ask another bank for clarification. Sometimes a bank needs to confirm a status. Sometimes a bank needs to explain why an instruction failed. Sometimes a bank needs to send a free text update. Sometimes a bank needs to communicate about a transaction without sending a new payment message. MT199 gives banks that flexibility. Think of MT199 like a secure memo inside the SWIFT world. It is not casual chat. It is not WhatsApp. It is not an email. But conceptually, it is closer to structured communication than to payment movement. This is why some people call it a chat message between banks, but that phrase must be used carefully. It is not casual. It is authenticated, but it is still communication. Now, let's talk about the word authenticated. When a real MT199 is sent through SWIFT, it comes through the secure banking network. That means the sending institution can be identified inside the system. That matters. But authenticated communication is not the same as payment confirmation. A bank can authentically say, "We are checking," A bank can authentically say, payment was rejected. A bank can authentically say, please provide more information. A bank can authentically say, funds were credited, depending on the context. But the meaning depends on the content. MT199 does not mean one thing by itself. The message content matters. This is why you should never treat the code MT199 as the full answer. The code only tells you the message type. The words inside the message tell you the actual meaning. Now let's make this very simple. If someone tells you, I received a letter from a bank, you would ask, what does the letter say? You would not assume the letter means money arrived. MT199 is similar. The message type tells you that communication happened. But you still need to know what was communicated. Now let's talk about MT199 and Swift GPI. This is where the topic becomes more advanced, but also very important. Swift has used MT199 in the context of payment confirmations for the GP tracker, where banks can confirm payment status through specific confirmation messages. SWIFT's Universal Confirmations page explains that MT199 can be used by Swift customers to confirm payments to a dedicated tracker BIC. Swift. This is important because it shows MT199 can be connected to payment tracking. But again, the message must be understood in context. A confirmation sent to a tracker is part of a system process. A random PDF saying MT199 is not the same thing. This is where scammers and confused customers create chaos. They hear that MT199 can confirm something. Then they assume any MT199 proves everything. That is not banking. That is misunderstanding. Now, let's talk about what MT199 does not prove. It does not prove funds are in your account. It does not prove a buyer has paid you. It does not prove a transaction cannot fail. It does not prove a bank has legally committed to pay. It does not prove a PDF is authentic. And it does not replace cleared funds. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. MT199 is communication, not completion. Now, let's go into the case file again. A seller receives a message from a buyer saying, our bank sent MT199 confirming readiness. The seller asks, does that mean I can ship? The answer is no. Not by itself. Readiness is not settlement. Communication is not credit. Intention is not payment. This is where many trade deals become dangerous. Because the language of banking can sound like finality, even when it is only preparation. Now let's talk about ready, willing, and able, because this phrase appears often in questionable trade conversations. Sometimes people claim an MT199 shows that a bank or buyer is ready, willing, and able. But those words must be treated carefully. In legitimate finance, banks may communicate information under agreed procedures. But in scams, ready, willing, and able becomes theater. It becomes a phrase used to create confidence before actual funds exist. So your rule must be simple. Do not trust the phrase. Verify the result. Now, let's explain MT199 using a simple analogy. Imagine two doctors discussing a patient through a secure hospital system. One doctor sends a message to another doctor saying, please confirm the test result. That message is real. It is authenticated. It is part of the hospital system. But it is not the treatment. It is communication about the treatment. MT199 works in a similar way. It can support the process. It can clarify the process. It can confirm parts of the process. But it is not automatically the process itself. Now let's talk about the difference between MT199, MT195, and MT196. MT195 is commonly used for queries. MT196 is commonly used for answers. MT199 is free format. That means MT199 can be used when the communication does not fit neatly into the more specific query and answer message types. This is why MT199 is flexible. But flexibility also makes it easier for non-bankers to misunderstand. A strict message type has a clearer purpose. A free format message requires interpretation, and interpretation requires context. Now, let's talk about the structure. A typical MT199 contains a transaction reference and a narrative field. The narrative field is where the actual message content appears. That narrative matters more than the code. Because MT199 can say many different things. It can say payment confirmed. It can say payment rejected. It can say information required. It can say charges applied. It can say transaction under review. It can say almost any relevant free format information. So when someone says, "I have MT199, your answer should be, what exactly does it say, and can your bank verify it inside the SWIFT system? Now let's talk about verification. A real MT199 is not verified by looking at a screenshot. It is not verified by reading a PDF. It is not verified by trusting the buyer. It is verified by the receiving bank inside the proper banking system. This is the same rule we learned with MT103. Documents are claims. Bank systems are verification. Now, why do scammers love MT199? Because most people have heard of MT103, but fewer people understand MT199. That makes MT199 sound mysterious. And mystery creates authority. A scammer can say, "This is not a normal transfer proof. This is a bank-to-bank MT199. That sentence feels powerful. But it may mean nothing to you unless your bank confirms it. Now, let's talk about a dangerous pattern. The scammer says, "Our bank already sent MT199 to your bank." Then your bank says, "We received nothing." The scammer replies, "Your bank's back office is slow." Then the scammer says, "Please wait." Then the scammer pressures you to act. This pattern is not banking. It is manipulation. Now, let's talk about what a professional business owner should do. If someone claims an MT199 was sent, do not argue. Do not accuse. Do not panic. Simply contact your bank through official channels and ask whether any authenticated SWIFT message was received. If your bank says no, treat the claim as unverified. If your bank says yes, ask what the message actually states. And even if the message exists, do not treat it as cleared funds unless your account is credited. Now, here's a powerful sentence you can use. Thank you for the update. We will proceed once our bank confirms receipt of funds or confirms the message directly through official banking channels. This sentence is calm. It is professional. It does not insult the buyer. But it protects you. Now, let's talk about the biggest misunderstanding in international business. People think official language equals official result. But banking is not about how official something sounds. Banking is about what has actually posted, settled, or been confirmed inside authorized systems. This is why screenshots are weak. This is why PDFs are weak. This is why forwarded emails are weak. And this is why direct bank confirmation matters. Now let's talk about legitimate uses. MT199 can be used for general transaction-related information. It can be used for payment status communication. It can be used to explain why an instruction was not executed. Some bank documentation describes MT199 as a free format message used to send information where another message type is not applicable. And some banks use it to report reasons for transaction instructions not being executed. Opening parenthesis danskci.com. That means MT199 can be useful and legitimate. But legitimate does not mean unlimited. It is not a magic banking document. It is not a guarantee. It is not a universal proof of funds. Now, let's talk about proof of funds. Some people claim MT199 can prove funds. This is a dangerous simplification. A bank may use SWIFT communication to provide certain information under specific procedures. But a free format message by itself should not be treated as proof that money belongs to you or has arrived for you. Proof depends on context, bank verification, legal wording, and actual account status. Never let a buyer turn MT199 into a shortcut around proper due diligence. Now, let's talk about why this matters for import-export. Import-export is built on timing. Goods move, documents move, money moves. Trust moves. And when one side misunderstands a banking message, the whole deal can collapse. A seller may ship too early. A buyer may claim payment too early. A logistics company may release goods too early. And once goods move, recovery becomes difficult. This is why MT199 education is not just technical. It is financial self-defense. Now, let's talk about the emotional trap. When you hear bank-to-bank message, you feel safer. When you hear SWIFT, you feel safer. When you hear MT199, you feel like the deal has entered a serious stage. But safety does not come from vocabulary. Safety comes from verification. This is the rule. Now let's close the case file with a clean summary. MT199 is a SWIFT-free format message. It is used when banks need to communicate information that does not fit another message type. It can support payment tracking, clarification, investigations, and confirmations depending on context. It does not automatically mean money has arrived. It does not automatically prove payment. It does not replace MT103. It does not replace settlement. It does not replace cleared funds. And it should never be treated as proof based only on a PDF, screenshot, or forwarded message. Now, here is the final mental model. MT103 is usually about a customer payment instruction. Swift GPI is about tracking the payment instruction journey. MT199 is about flexible communication around banking matters. 3 different tools. 3 different meanings. 3 different risks when misunderstood. If you understand this, you stop being impressed by codes. You start asking better questions. What does the message actually say? Who verified it? Was it received through the banking system? Has money been credited? Are funds cleared? Those questions make you difficult to manipulate. And that is the goal of Sethtra Academy, not to make you afraid of banking, but to make you precise. Because precision protects money. In the next EPI.S.ODE, I will show you the scam version. How criminals use MT199 language to create fake confidence, fake bank-to-bank authority, and fake readiness before money ever appears. Because once you understand both sides, the system side and the criminal side, you become almost impossible to fool.